Well, Dave Johnson talks to a Kentucky Derby winning trainer. Pete Axel has the edge of one of the nation's top riders. All that in the nation's top stakes races from this past week. Coming up on the Budweiser Thoroughbred Digest. 3/4 $1 million, a mile and a quarter, 3 and up. Why is it the race of the year? Take a look at this field. It starts with Personal Flag, then the 3-year-old 49er, the first time against older horses, Pincay at 5-2. Crypto Clearance, the favorite Ali Sheba, 9-5, the highway to 126 with McCarran. Rounding out the field, Wacoit, Talonham, Roy Norman, Brian's Time. Here's the call from Marshall Cassidy at Belmont Park.
They're all 9. They're all. And 49er has gone for the lead. It's Ali Sheba on the outside, moving into second. Alongside is Wacoit. Wacoit now gets the lead by a half. Goes clear by a full length. 49er on the rail, second by a half. On the outside, Ali Sheba is third by a length. Then Roy Normand, the Personal Flag, Tullingham, Crypto Clearance, and Brian's Time is 8. The field now approaches the backstretch. The first quarter in 24-1. Wacoit has the lead by about 2. 49er second by a neck on the outside. Ali Sheba right alongside in third by a length and a half. Then Tullingham, Roy Normand about 3 to Personal Flag. Then Crypto Clearance and Brian's Time down the backstretch. Wacoit has the lead still by a half. 49er second by a neck on the outside is Ali Sheba in third. A length and a half to Tullingham and Roy Normand. About 4 to Personal Flag, 4 to Crypto Clearance and to Brian's Time. The half and 47-3. They continue down the backstretch. Wacoit on the rail gets clear now by a full length. Then 49er second by a length and a half. Ali Sheba has dropped back. The field now enters the far turn. Wacoit still leads by a length and a half. 49er second by a length. Then Ali Sheba on the outside. Tullingham has made a move, as has Ali Sheba. Ali Sheba on the outside now moves into second alongside 49er. Tullingham joins those two. They round the far turn. Wacoit still has the lead, but there goes 49er on the outside. Tullingham between those two is Ali Sheba in fourth. They approach the top of the stretch. 3/4, 11-1. Tullingham, Ali Sheba, 49er, Wacoit remain across the track, and they're followed by Roy Normand, then Crypto Clearance and Brian's Time. They're in the stretch. It's Wacoit on the rail. On the outside of Wacoit is 49er. Farther out is Ali Sheba. Then Tullingham. Here comes Personal Flag on the far outside. Behind the leaders is Roy Normand. They pass the 8th pole. 49er gets ahead in front. On the outside is Ali Sheba. Wacoit remains in third on the rail. Ali Sheba now gets the lead. 49er is second, then Wacoit. It's Ali Sheba in front.
In a new track record, 1:59.2 for the mile and a quarter, breaks Silverbuck's record from 82 when he carried 15 pounds less than Ali Sheba. Ali Sheba, $500,000 Keeneland yearling, owned by Dorothy and Pam Scarborough of Midland, Texas, trained by Jack Van Berg, ridden by Chris McCarran, 49er second, Wacoit third. Let's hear from the top riders, McCarran and Pincay, in their duel for the Woodward race.
I really didn't want to be too close to 49er as far as lapped on him like I was. He's a very difficult horse to get by, as I found out in the Travers, and he fought hard again yesterday. It just fortunately Ali Sheba was a little bit stronger and a little bit better yesterday. It took a final quarter in 24-2 to get by 49er, which set up the track record.
But Pete, 49er is got to be one of the hardest trying horses you've ever been on.
Yes, he is. From the quarter pole home, he was trying everything he could to win. And there was one point when I really thought I'd win the race until Ali Sheba came alongside of me, and I felt a little bit stronger at the end.
Bruce Casella's joined us on the rail. What a race.
It certainly was a tremendous race. Ali Sheba carrying 7 more pounds than 49er, and that was a big factor there. But 49er, a tremendous race for him, and he's definitely in the hunt for a 3-year-old champion.
Bruce, I was talking to Jerry Brown with Thorograph, the Sheets people, as you know. The number, and the lower the number, the better. Ali Sheba ran a 0. He's run 3 of them this year. The last time that happened was Spectacular Bid in 1980. The best number of the year still. Risen Stars at Belmont, -1.
Incredible.
Bruce, got a lot of news coming up for you. We've got a lot of races to show you. Stay with us on the Budweiser Thoroughbred Digest.
World, the determination and the love this man has for the sport of racing.
Laffit Pincay is a special athlete. It was just 7 weeks ago at Del Mar Racetrack when this 42-year-old jockey encountered this dramatic spill, leaving the all-time money earner with several broken ribs and a collapsed lung.
I didn't know whether I was going to get out of there in good shape. You know, like he was trying to kick me, and I At the time, I was thinking, well, how do I know I'm going to get out of this one now?
The dedication Laffit shares with horse racing is paramount. Even on his way to the hospital, his thoughts were on the sport he loves so well.
I was thinking in 49er that I was going to ride 49er, that if I was broken down, I wasn't going to be able to ride him.
Laffit was down, but not out. Soon he would be exercising, using the Pacific Ocean and the ocean breeze as a backdrop to help fuel his comeback.
I don't have any pain, and the only thing that I'm worrying about is that I want to be in good shape.
Last Wednesday, Laffit was back, racing for the first time since that terrible spill, and his fans and peers welcomed him.
It feels pretty good. I thought I'd be nervous, but I'm not nervous at all, and I'm excited about riding, and that's what I like to do, you know, keep coming over here and ride every day, and I'm ready.
The winner's circle wouldn't be far ahead, as his first ride was a winning one. Laffit was back.
Boy, what a competitor. Talk about dedication. The Kentucky Horse Park, just outside of Lexington, Kentucky, is about to celebrate their 10th anniversary. The horse park is a special place dedicated to all of those who love the horse.
This is Sparky and Barron up here pulling this.
Kentucky is often called the horse capital of the world. And what better way to emphasize that fact than by building an equine shrine called the Kentucky Horse Park. Behind me is the statue of the immortal man of war, just one of the many attractions here at the horse park to celebrate the horse.
If you'd say, well, give me the 5 greatest thoroughbreds of all time, you'd have to start with Man of War, who's buried here. You'd have to include John Henry, who's retired here and the richest racehorse of all time. You'd probably have to include Forgo, who is an 8 Eclipse Award winner. So we've got 3 of the 5.
The horse park is 1,000 acres of land with over $40 million invested into every breed of the horse. Several attractions make up the facility, like famous trophies from the Kentucky Derby and other big races. There are famous pictures, and the history of the horse unfolds to the young and the old alike. I'm no exception, but it's a special thrill to be up close to champions like John Henry and Forgo.
Like today, we have about 10,000 children here, school children. Now, this is their first encounter with a horse in most cases. You know, when they can go up there and hear the story of John Henry being a $1,200 horse and winning $6.5 million, it's kind of a Cinderella story that any one of them can be a part of or model their life after. Even better, when they get to touch those horses, they have touched the great champions of all time. And I believe that's one of the ways that the future is going to come. I mean, the more we try to get the children with the horses, the more they'll enjoy them.
And Chris, last year's 2-year-old champion filly Epitome got back to the races in a winning effort at Belmont, an allowance race this past week.
One of your favorites, right?
That's why I love her.
Okay.
Great.
Let's take a look now at some of the nation's top stakes races this past week as we go to our Breeders' Cup race recap.
Chris, let's begin in New York at Belmont Park. What a week of racing there. It's the 75th running of the Fall Highway Handicap. The favorite is Play the King.
Well selected, very far from the inner rail, still leads by 3. Eye Bright, Parley Me, Play the King, all heads apart, 2nd, 3rd, and 4th. Well selected now comes in, they're at the 8th pole. Well selected leads by 2. Eye Bright, Parley Me, heads apart, 2nd and 3rd on the outside. Play the King remains in 4th. Parley Me is gaining ground on the outside of Well Selected. Eye Bright on the rail is 3rd. It's Parley Me on Well Selected to the wire.
And what a finish by Parley Me with Randy Romero. Just edging Well Selected. High Bright ran 3rd. Parley Me is by Irish Tower over Legis and is trained by Jim Baku. Let's move now to the Flower Bowl Handicap. The 11th running. The favorite is Glowing Honor.
3/4, 14 flat there in the stretch. Glowing Honor still leads by about 2. Then Princely Proof remains in 2nd. On the outside is Nastic, and here comes Gaily. They pass the 8th pole. Glowing Honor on the rail on the outside. Princely Proof gaining on the far outside. Gaily between horses. Love You by Heart. Those 4 will race to the wire. It's Gaily on the outside. Love You by Heart, and between is Princely Proof to the wire.
What an upset there. Gaily wins it with jockey Julie Crone. Look at the payoff, folks. Finishing 2nd, Love You by Heart. Princely Proof ran 3rd. Gaily is by Cure the Blues out of Gay Shuka and is trained by Bill Mott. Now to the 2-year-olds and the futurity. The favorite is Fast Play.
Nate Nature's Gift still leads, but by only a neck. Trap Mountain joins him on the outside, gaining ground on the rail, fast play. And here comes Bio on the far outside. They approach the 8th pole. Trap Mountain leads by a neck. Nature's Gift second by a neck. Gaining ground on the outside, Bio takes second. It's Bio and Trap Mountain past 16th pole together. Trap Mountain on the rail, on the outside, Bio, Trap Mountain in front.
And Angel Cordero gets Trap Mountain in front by a neck over Bio. Fast Play ran third. Trap Mountain is by Cox's Ridge out of Play at Home and is trained by Rusty Arnold. We're still at Belmont, folks, for the 40th running of the Astorita. The race is for the 2-year-old fillies. The favorite is Pat Copeland.
Miss Dorian on the outside is third, and Channel 3 is gaining again on the outside of Pat Copeland as they approach the 8th pole. Pat Copeland on the rail, joined on the outside by Channel 3. Those two heads apart with a length on. Miss Dorian third by 3, then stocks up. And Channel 3 now gets the lead. Pat Copeland back into second. Miss Dorian is third. They approach the wire, but Pat Copeland comes on again. As they race to the wire, it's Channel 3 in front.
Another big upset. It's Channel 3 with Carlos Barrera over Pat Copeland, and Mistorian ran third. Channel 3 is by Trijet out of TVB and is trained by Mike Goswell. Moving to the Meadowlands now and the New Jersey Turf Classic. The favorite there is Bet Twice.
Claros now charging on the outside. They're midway around the final turn. It's Bet Twice holding on to the lead by 3/4 of a length. Claros is full out to try to get him. Circus Prince is driving hard in third. Here comes Malicious with a sweeping move on the outside. They straighten away into the stretch. Bet Twice is now put to the test. Malicious is flying, and here he comes on the outside. Bet Twice digging in. Malicious charging, and Malicious has taken command of 16th out. Circus Prince now moving, and Bet Twice has been beaten.
It's Malicious with jockey Chris Antley over Circus Prince. Bet Twice ran third. Malicious is by Alleged out of Mindy Malone and is trained by Richard Lundy. Let's go now to Fairmount Park for the Budweiser Breeders' Cup. The favorite there is Calistoga.
On the rail, Dr. is third by 5, and Man of the House, 1/8 of a mile to run. Calistoga has the lead now by 3.5. Dr. is second. Buck Bean on the rail, and Man of the House, it's Calistoga.
And it's Calistoga winning the Fairmount Park Budweiser Breeders' Cup. Second is Dr. Buck Bean ran third. Calistoga is by Relaunch out of Vittel and is trained by Neil Boyce. Let's move to Longacres now for the Lad Stakes. The favorite is Fair Decor.
Then Honest John in second. Here comes Bubba Bay on the outside. Bubba Bay rolls up in mid-track, takes the lead. It's Bubba Bay and Harmony Creek.
And it's Bubba Bay winning at Longacres over Saki Salmon and Harmony Creek. Bubba Bay is by Defense Verdict out of Fails Pride. Is trained by Richard Wright. Moving now to Maryland and Laurel Racetrack for the Budweiser Maryland Classic. The favorite is Little Bull John.
Due North on the inside, stride for stride. Due North at the rail. Mr. SM on the outside, heads apart, and here comes Little Bull John. And down the stretch they come. Due North on the inside, Mr. SM on the outside. Little Bull John trying to close the gap in the final strides, but in deep stretch, Mr. SM on the outside. Jose Santos aboard.
And it's another upset. Mr. SM with Jose Santos wins it and sets a new track record. Second is Due North. Little Bull John, the favorite in the race, ran third. Mr. SM is by Rollicking out of Empty Nest and is trained by Steve DeMoro.
One footnote to our race recap. In the Flower Bowl, Gailey Gady, the big price horse winning, ridden by Julie Crone, her first Grade 1 stakes victory in America for that fine young lady rider. We'll be back with Horse Talk with Dave Johnson and the Kentucky Derby winning trainer next.
Talking horses with Eddie Gregson, who has come to the winner's circle via an interesting route. What did you do before you were a horse trainer?
Well, after I got out of college, Dave, I was tried a hand at acting for a while, and I was a wrangler at a cattle feed lot and sold cars for a while, tried a lot of things.
But winning the Kentucky Derby as a trainer, you don't want to go back to any of that, do you?
No, that's the ultimate. You're bitten with the bug forever, and you stay with it.
Gato del Sol must have been some high.
Well, that was. It is, as I say, the ultimate thrill for an owner, a trainer, a breeder, for anybody.
Well, how do you zero in on your business now? What do you concentrate on, Ed?
Well, I mostly train for breeders, and I'm dealing with young horses, bringing them along up to their first starts, and trying to make them competitive here on, I think, what is about the toughest circuit in the world in Southern California.
So what's the secret in terms of looking for qualities?
Basically, the breeder hands you horses out of mares that he's selected for racing on a tough circuit, and you just bring them along as best you can to see if they're going to be competitive, and if they're not, then you move them on someplace else.
I know it's a long way away, but might we be seeing you in the Kentucky Derby of 1989?
That's, you know, you hope that you're going to be there. That's what you point for every day. It's like designing every play in football for a touchdown, and that's what we're doing here on the track, hoping for the Derby. But we understand if we're not going to be there in 89, and we figure we'll be there in 90.
Talking the Kentucky Derby, talking horses with Eddie Gregson. And there's more horse talk coming up next week.
Thank you, Dave. Let's go now to our Lanes In Trainer of the Month update. It's still a pretty tight race now for this month of September. Let's take a look at who won the big races this past week. We'll start with Billy Mott winning that Flower Bowl with Gailey at 75-1. Bill, why didn't you tell me about that one? Steve DeMoe, an upset in the Budweiser Maryland Classic with Mr. SM. Craig Lewis had a couple of big wins this past week. He won the Del Mar Futurity with Music Merci that you saw on our Budweiser Racing Across America series, and the Ford Juvenile with Rob and Plunder. And, of course, kudos to the man Jack Van Berg with Ali Sheba. Tremendous win in the Woodward handicap. And as we go to break, let's look back on a racing memory.
It's freezing, breaks sharply for the lead on the outside. Seattle Slew, however, now goes on to take it. They've still got the Slew in front. He has 3 as they come to the wire.
This is the Nation's Business Update.
At 6 Eastern on the ESPN.
Axe's Edge is brought to you by Caesars Palace, Las Vegas. Relive the legend.
Horse players are great believers in home court advantage. You always tend to think people are a little sharper where you are than they are in some other racetrack. So what happens when a jockey, even a great Eclipse Award winning jockey like Pat Day, comes into your track? Pat, you have switched a number of tracks in your brilliant career, and what do you have to look for? What are the main adjustments?
Well, certainly you'd like to, you'd like an opportunity to watch a couple of races and see if there's any bias on the racetrack where the horses seem to be getting the best footing. And as much as I've been around, I know a lot of the riders and their riding styles, and certainly that comes into play. But there's really not a whole lot you can do to prepare yourself coming in. If you don't know the riders and don't know the racetrack, the main thing would be to look to see if there is a bias, and then hopefully be able to get on that part of the racetrack during the race.
What about when you come in from places like Churchill, where you've been perennial leading rider, to New York? I could ask the same question about a Cordero goes to California, doesn't do well. You had one trip into New York a few years ago. You didn't do well. Does it tend to be a little closed society that you have to really do some politicking and win over some friends to get started?
Well, the bottom line is the horses. You got to be on the stock. I don't care who you are or where you're at. If you're not on the best horse, chances are you're not going to win the race.
Isn't it funny how great riders always emphasize that the horses are most important, which of course they are, but somehow the great ones usually have the great mounts. That's the way it works out for Pat Day. Hope it works out for all of us. This is the Axe, still looking for the edge.
Thank you, Axe. Let's take a look now at a racing doubleheader for you this weekend on ESPN. It starts on Friday night, live 11 to 11:30 p.m. from the magnificent Meadowlands. It's the Pegasus.